Synchronous learning. Synchronous learning refers to a learning event in which a group of students are engaging in learning at the same time. The practical applications of the synchronous teaching or learning. A lecture is an example of synchronous learning in a face-to-face environment because the learners and the teachers are all in the same place and at the same time. Another example of a synchronous learning event would involve students watching a live web stream of a class while simultaneously taking part in a discussion. Synchronous learning can be facilitated by having the students and instructors participate in a class via web conferencing tool. These synchronous experiences can be designed to develop and strengthen instructor-student as well as student-student relationship, which can be a challenge in learning programs. A brief history of the synchronous teaching. Synchronous communication in distance education began long before the advent of the use of computers in synchronous learning. After the very early days of distance education, when students and instructors communicated asynchronously via the post office, synchronous forms of communication in distance education emerged with broadcast radio and television. And long before the sudden existence of this COVID pandemic, there are these schools who offer homeschool. So this is an example of synchronous teaching in a distance education. However, it was not until the 1980s with video conferencing and interactive television that students could ask questions and discuss concepts while seeing participants in a synchronous setting. Manifestations of interactive multimedia, the internet, access to web-based resources, the synchronous and asynchronous forms of computer-mediated communication only followed in the 1990s. So, this is what they used in order to make synchronous teaching happen in the very early days of distance education. They use the radio, so maybe there are channels that is programmed to discuss lessons, and also in the television like the Siniskwela. Video conferencing and interactive television allows the student to ask questions and discuss concepts while seeing participants in a synchronous setting. So this only happened in the early 1990s and flourished in the early 2010s. So if we're going to, or we are considering synchronous teaching as a way of making education progress in this new normal, we're going to consider these concepts for better instruction. So first, platform. We have to choose a platform that can be accessible to mostly, if not possible, all of our students. That is free, user-friendly, and if we are able to choose one platform, we must then inform our students of the time that we are going to be scheduled, as well as to prepare ahead of time, and also have a quick orientation on how to use the platform so that there is an ease in doing the business. Second is the equipment. It is a challenge for us teachers to we are more than willing to give quality education to our learners even in this new normal, even in this pandemic time, but we are facing a challenge in providing quality education because of the equipment, because there is no internet connection or slow internet connection, and equipment is very costly and very expensive. So that is one challenge. Next is teaching assistants. It is very important that we, like in the classroom, we develop students that we make assistants, or they are given responsibilities in the classroom, or they are able to lead their or their classmates. Same with the synchronous teaching, or when we are having this online class, we must assign also teacher assistants to make them practice their ability to lead also. And being responsible. Next is the learning management system. It is very important that teachers have unity in the resources. So let's say, for example, in the making of the module, so it is very important that teachers can access the learning management system, or like for example DepEd Commons. So naay mga module dito nga pwede nato i-use, but if the division gusto nila na dapat division lang sa division per division lahi or para ma-localize siya, so it is important that we are able to consolidate or have a consolidated modules or references for us na para ipanghatag, i-distribute. Next is house rules. It is very important that we are able to set house rules ahead of time so that there is respect and naatay pagkakaisa inside the classroom. Next is the audiovisual materials. It is very important that ahead of time, pag naatay reporting ang atong pamaagi, is ato siyang ma-prepare ahead of time, and then dili lang pod dapat nga pag for example pag naay reporting or ang teacher mismo ang mag-discuss, puno bitaw siya og video, magtan-aw, mag-watch tag video man ni atong that is very boring, because kung naaman lang gani kao diha di ba, kung sa face to face pwede man nato i-demo ang skill, diri pod sa ato ang online class pwede pod nato kay demo, kay gabi ka boring, pwede naman gud tanan na nila i-asynchronous learning na lang og video, mag-watch man lang di og video, di ba? So it is advisable or advised nga dili gyud ng mga video or kanang pwede ra nila mabuhat later, because ang pinaka-importante diri is naatay interaction. Lastly is the feedback. It's very important that we recognize feedbacking or comments made by our students, so that pagka next meeting ato na siyang ma-work out ang atong mapamaagi para ma-better nato or atong ma-develop, mas maka-develop ta as a teacher, and we are the facilitator of the learning event. Ato siyang ma-improve pa ang atong instruction para hinay-hinay ato siyang ma-improve. Kung dili taganhan ani nga platform, mobalhin taglain nga platform, asa ang mas better atong i-recognize ang voice sa atong mga students in our online classroom. That is also it does make sense, because the students, what if dili sila nabitay multiple intelligence, what if dili na day conducive, nagpadayon pero wala na day learning, di ba? So importante gyud ning feedbacking. So naapoy mga, for example, magpasa og output, asa man na mo ipasa. So this is really important pod nga na interaction between student to student and teacher to student. So naaman tay mga chat rooms, for example sa Facebook naaman tay group chat, while or kung sa Google Classroom pod or sa Teams naman po na siya group chat, pwede gani mag group work na mag-create mo og lahi-lahi nga rooms, pero one classroom gyapon mo, pero mura mo og i-separate bitaw ana. So that is why kaning kada platform i-discover gyud nato ang amazing niya nga mga features. So next is the effective strategies in conducting an online synchronous session. First is provide learners with an agenda. So dapat, for example, sa first meeting, ang mga ginikanan mo adto gyud dito sa eskwelahan para magkuha sa modules. And then nanadayon tay scheduled nga mga online class dayon. So dito pa lang sa modules, pwede na nato i-attach dito ang atong mga agenda, ang atong gi-expect for the quarter ana. Or bisan mismo diha sa first meeting, diha man jud ang ipakita nato ang atong agenda, or every presentation, di ba? Sa atong mga presentation natin at the end of the session, mao ni atong ma-learn, mao ni atong expected output, mao ni siya ang atong assessment para ma-assess ang atong ana siya. So that is very necessary. Second, in order to better have this synchronous teaching, we have to set our expectations and communicate it with learners. At the very start of the meeting, we must set our expectation, and also at the very start of each session, dapat clear atong expectation, nakaset na ta sa atong mga house rules, igo na ta mag-follow up, and dapat magkasinabot ta sa atong mga learners nga mo ni siya ang atong expect sa inyo, ha, mo ni ang mga output nga dapat ninyo ang mapasa. Pag dili mo makapasa, mo ni siya ang mahitabo kana. Modyo na ang atong mga expectation nga ipang butang daan para aware ang tanan. Third, invite learners to generate their own discussion points. So, mao gani ni siyang importance nga we meet in real time, bahalag dili face to face, in order for the students and the learners themselves to have interaction with each other. So, dapat magkasinabot sila. Number 4, have an icebreaker activity at the start of the session. Okay, so this is very fun. Pwede mga activities, natay Mentimeter, pwede magamit. Naputay forms, ana, tong cloud sourcing, ana, pwede po mag-zumba. Siya. Fifth is have a shorter session but recorded. It's very important, although attendance is very necessary and very much appreciated and separate gid sa graduhan, but namagi times nga dili maka-attend ang uban, so dapat is recorded siya para makaapas putong uban sa discussion sa topics. And then have their PowerPoints to be passed, to be consolidated in a driver or in the classroom, for example Google Classroom, i-post dito. So at the end of the week, ask students to assess their participation. Mo ni siyang feedbacking. Dapat ato gyud ni siyang pangutan-on unsa man, kumusta man ang inyong pagkuan. So challenges aning synchronous teaching, conduct of assessment. Syempre, wala ni siya timer. For example, dili ta mag-set of timer. O kana siya, nagsinundugay ba ni? Di ba na yung mga memes nga nagsinundugay, anak siya, nagtalikod na di ay, abi kay gipurungan pa ang mata, kay ang teacher gusto lagi pagpa-oral participation, anak siya. So, challenge ang quality sa assessment, ang result sa assessment, and also sa pag-conduct sa assessment. Kung wala ba ni sila nagsinundugay, di ba? Ana. So next challenge is learners attendance and social needs. Kani siya, di ba? Nag-set of time. Karon pandemic man good, basin nakoy students pod nga wala siya ka-attend kay nang ano day siya, abantero man day siya, ana siya. Tapos naapod sila yung mga responsibilities pa sa ilang mga panimalay, di ba? And then naaba sila gamit, di ba? Gainan yung ko equipment, dili lang sa part sa teacher but also sa students. Hinay pa jud ang atong internet connection, di ba? Oo. So mo ni siya ang mga challenges yun when it comes to seeing to it nga naka-attend ang atong mga learners. Technology. So ibutang nato nato equipment. Dili lang baya pud basta-basta nga equipment, dapat up to date ba na siya, dako ba iyang storage para the equipment is able to install software applications, di ba? Kaning Mentimeter dili man ni siya install, but for example Filmora ani there are subjects that requires, di ba, mag video editing, ana ang editor ba pwede online, ana siya. So napagyutahin ng internet connection, daghan siya i-consider, load pa kani. So kung successful ta na, mangita pud ta og kani pareha ani Mentimeter. This is fun. Stability of internet connection, isa pa ni nato nga problema because sa Philippines pinakahinay gyud, di ba? Samot na og dito sa bukid-bukid, di ba? So ibutang nato equipment, wala po tayo internet connection. So yung nana nga time para sa atong masteral, Adto pa ta dito nga time, but Wednesday na po tayo trabaho ana siya. So iningkamot yun ta, niniuha man ta nga magmasilat. So maningkamot ta og pasignal. Special concerns of different types of learners also. Dili tanan learners pareha tanan, audio visual sila nga mga learners, they learn well if they are able to kuan hear it, see it, di ba? Ang uban lahi-lahi, di ba? Dapat i-consider nato ang multiple intelligence and needs of the learners, kana siya. Pag kani sa lower years, labi na sa lower years, grade kanang mga elementary, because they have a very short attention span. So that is why we have to consider planning, having strategies and activities that will make their attention more longer. Plagiarism, isa po ni siya. Kung saan na to pag-ensure nga ang mga bata wala nagkinopyahanay, ang mga learners wala nagkinopyahanay, wala nag-copy-paste lang. Uy, anong wrong man nga straight man siya sa internet na ko gikuha. So dili tanan gikan sa internet tama. Dili po tanan gikan sa internet dapat kapihon. Kaya nga naman, we have this intellectual property, makapriso na siya. So that's why naatay mga plagiarism checker nga kung pila ka percent dawaton na siya, kay dili man pud gyud 100% authentic ang mga kuan. So na 10% lang siya nga plagiarize ana madawat na, pero pag 80% and above na dili na siya dawatan. So more to siya. That ends my report about the effective delivery of synchronous teaching. So ako ta na ipakita unsaon paggamit sa Mentimeter kani, but wala na, dili na lang nako ikuan because dili man gihapon nato ma-explore ang full feature niya because we are just using it as a free trial, and sa free nga version pag dito ta sa kuan nga version, and also wala pa pud kay ko ka-explore ani niya. So that ends my report. Thank you.